Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Caskey Live. Tried some new music today. The little screeching thing from yesterday drove me crazy. It was in my ears all day long, in my ear. I want to welcome you today. If you've not been along the journey with us here, we started about, where am I looking here? I'm looking at the light. We started about a month or so ago doing Thursday lives at 8:30. Now we've gone to daily to see how much of me you can handle. Today, I want to talk about the idea of a success spectrum. That was our, you saw our slide to promote this. Where are you on the success spectrum? I find that when I go into a company, everybody's at different places. I mean, we're all at different places in life. Put 10 people, even if they're in the same income range and the same job title and the same territory style, we're all different places in life. And that's the way it should be. I mean, that's the beauty of life, is that we take what's been dealt to us and we do different things with it. And sometimes we have seasons of life that we're better at things, and sometimes we have seasons of life we're not. So the whole point of this, and by the way, comment, I'd love to hear where you're watching from. I know we're on LinkedIn and YouTube. The point of this is to assess where we are on this spectrum, and I'm going to draw it out for you here. And one thing I always tell people when I start this is not to pigeonhole you somewhere. This is not a category like you're a fox or a hound or a high D or a low I. This is intended to be a spectrum. It's not you go here and then boom, you're here. It's you're constantly going up and down along the spectrum, along the ladder. And so I want to share that with you, but I wanted to tell you that first because I don't want you to get too upset about, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing this and this. Where am I on the, just chill. You'll miss the point if you don't see it as a spectrum, but I have organized it in 5 different sections that I think will help you. Before we start today, I want to introduce you to the $1 Million Seller Program. You've probably heard me talk about it. You can go to BillCaskey.com/$1 Million Seller. Not going to talk a lot about it here, but if you're interested in really significantly growing your business, scaling your income, I would recommend you check that out. The tuition is low. It's a 12-week program. It's both online and coaching, and I'd love to have you in it. But check out that at BillCaskey.com/$1 Million Seller. One other thing before we start today, I've been using a little bit more AI, and this is my birthday week. So Friday is my birthday. And if you knew how old I was, you would probably be saying, what's a guy that age even worrying about AI? He's about ready to pass on to another dimension. Why is he worried about AI? Well, hopefully it's not going to happen that quickly, but it is my birthday week. Friday's my birthday. I'll be something in the 60s. Let's just say that. But Claude.ai is similar to ChatGPT. We've been using that more because we like the writing style it does. I like the lists it gave me. Like yesterday, I went in and we're doing a webinar here in March. You'll be invited to, of course. And I'm looking for titles for it. And I'm not good at titles. I'm terrible at titling. You can see my titles a mile away. Like, yep, that's a Caskey title, because it makes no sense and it's just not very good. So I like Claude.ai for titles. I think it's really good. I gave it the example of the kind of work this webinar is going to be doing, the audience level, the problems, and it came up with 10. 2 of them are really good. In fact, we're going to use one of those 2. But anyway, so if you're not using AI for things like that, just get in the hang of it. Just get in the swing. Chat, it's all free right now. I think ChatGPT has a paid offer, but generally they're all free. So let's move to the topic here, the leverage spectrum. And you've probably heard me talk about on these sessions before about the leverage ladder and the idea that you want to build up the ladder. And this is kind of the same thing. There's a little bit different. Well, not really. We're just giving it some different names. So it still is about moving from where you are to where you want to be. And what are the options? So I'm going to do it in a stair-step mode, but the fact is it kind of is a ladder. So here we go. Hopefully you can see this. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2. So we'll start down here. we'll start down there. So here are the 5 levels. And I would bet few of you are in this bottom level here of survival. I'm just going to title it survival. And survival is the idea that you're just basically surviving in life and in sales and in business. You're not happy with what you do. You're not, you don't even want to get up in the morning. I'm not saying you're clinically depressed, but it's just like, I don't like what I do. I'm not into cold calling 18 hours a day, but you're just kind of hanging on, and that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. This doesn't necessarily mean younger people, although it could. This could be anybody. Anybody in life could have a position. Maybe your company got sold. Maybe everything was really going well, and all of a sudden something happened that now it's not going so well. You're back to survival mode. And so we want to get you out of survival mode. So survival mode is just that everything's to blame but me. I'm externalizing everything. I'm reliving the past, all that stuff. I'm not going to go into the detail here because I don't want to give you any ideas. Okay, the next one is the ascender. And the ascender is the person who's on a climb. They are ascending the ladder. They have a goal. They have a vision for kind of where they want to be. They are planful. They are planning their day, their week, their month, their year. They're not obsessed with planning. They're just thoughtful, and they understand where they want to go. Here's the thing about the ascender, though, and this person is probably in the 100 to 250 range. And again, these numbers are just hypothetical, just categorical. They're not specific. This person is pretty good at what they do. They're in the top 10% of income earners, typically. What is their mix, AD mix? The AD mix is the analog versus digital mix. These people have probably a digital of 25% and analog of 75%. Means they're still in the analog business, meaning they are still reaching out, hand-to-hand combat, grinding it out, making calls. Nothing happens when they're asleep. Nothing happens in their territory when they're not in the territory working. This is not a bad thing. It's the bottom of the ladder. You've seen me talk about the analog part of the ladder. It's where everything is hand-to-hand, face-to-face, one-to-one. And so 25% of their work is digital, but 75% is analog. Then we want to go up to the next level. And the next level, I can get this, I can download this or put it somewhere. I'll put it in the LinkedIn notes in one of the comments, because I'd like you to have this. The orchestrator is the next level. The orchestrator. And the orchestrator is at the, I think I said the $250,000 to $500,000 level. And the orchestrator is good at production. It's orchestrating all of the different things that they're doing. They are mindful of strategic narratives. They are mindful of their own personal growth. They're orchestrating their own personal growth. They're not obsessed and they're not a control freak, but they're just mindful. So here's an example. If they are getting ready to invest in a self-development program, they won't just cut the check. They'll say, okay, what do I want to get out of this? And how is my life going to be different? And what kind of goals can I set as a result of this? And how can my income grow as a result of this? They're very methodical about how they work through things. And they do orchestrate things. They're good in long selling cycles where there have to be some of the prospect at the call and some of your company at the call. They're good at orchestrating and producing that. They're also good at orchestrating their future too. They have a design on their future and they're really good at that. Okay, the next level up. Oh, the AD is probably about 50-50 here. They're as much analog as they are digital. This next one is close to the top, and this is the person who's the $500,000 to $1 million producer. And I'm sorry about the writing. I know it's not great. And this person has figured out a way to amplify and leverage their wisdom. and they're assets. They think about things through the amplification lens. They are always thinking, I'm getting ready to do this. How do I amplify it? Here's an example I gave a client the other day. We were talking about leveraging things. Whoops, why is that on there? We were talking about leveraging things. And I said, every time you make a call and the customer asks you questions, or the prospect asks you questions, those questions are assets. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? Those questions are assets. Those are experiential things that you've heard from customers. And guess what? If one customer has those questions, might others have those questions? Of course they will. All your prospects have the same questions. Why should I buy from you? What makes you different? How is this going to disrupt my business? I mean, whatever the questions are in your world. So what I suggested to him to do, and he was a VP of sales, I said, gather your people around, gather them around, get the smudge sticks out, start the fire, and ask them, what are the top questions that your prospects ask? Let's say on the first call, what are the top questions? What are the top questions on the second call? What are the top questions all the way through the sales process? And I said, come up with those questions. Then what I want you to do is I want you to record a video for each of those questions. If you have 25 questions, you're not going to probably 25 videos, especially if you've never done one before. But if you've got 5 questions that kind of rise to the top, those are assets. Do something with them. The amplifier understands that. That's how they think. The amplifier is always interested in, how do I take what I'm doing and amplify it? Whether it's a call, whether it's a follow-up call. Here's another example of, I've got several clients in this 500,000 to $1 million, and they're really good at this amplification process. What they do is, whenever they have a meeting, if somebody on the client side does not attend, and it's an important person, they had a conflict or whatever, they will record a video where they walk through on an easel page like this, the 5 main points of the meeting. And then they will email them the link to a Dropbox where they host the video there. So now I've already had the meeting. This is the way the amplifier looks. I've already had the meeting, had a good meeting. 2 people weren't there, or somebody didn't show up. I need to figure out a way to get this, because nobody from the meeting who was there is going to update this person well. They might try it, but they're not going to do it well. The only person to do it well is you. You don't want to have another meeting. So you will create a 5-minute video that highlights the bullet points of the meeting, and you'll send that to them. That's amplification. That's amplification. It's a perfect example of amplifying what I've already done. The person here in the digital audio, they're probably 25% analog and 75% digital. They are always thinking digital. Why are they thinking digital? Because nothing amplifies your voice like digitizing it, whether it's a podcast or whether it's a YouTube channel. This is where we're trying to work more up here, and that's why I'm doing this. I mean, this is part of that. This LinkedIn Live, Caskey Live every day, this is part of amplifying our content. Because every day I'm in front of people and they have struggles and they have problems. And most of those challenges we find a way to deal with. Some are impossible, but that's what I'm trying to do here, is amplify my message. At the very top here is the master. It's mastery. It's the person who has worked their way up this scale, and they are now at master level. And these people typically are 10, 15% analog, most digital. These are the people that have the platforms. And I'm not comparing you to Joe Rogan. You may or may not like Joe Rogan. I listen sometimes. Sometimes his stuff is a little long and tedious, but he's got some good, decent guests. He's a master because he's taken his content and his brand and he sold it online, and he has a major platform. I think he just re-signed with Spotify for $200 million or something like that. You don't get $200 million down here calling on people one at a time. You get it because you have a massive platform. So I want you to think about where you are here, but this is where we want to get. Now you may say, Bill, I don't want to have a Netflix show, or I don't want to have a YouTube channel. Okay, well then you're not going to your voice is not going to have impact on the world if you don't. To which you say, I don't want to have impact on the world. I just want to call on my dentist here in North Carolina. Okay, but why can't they get access to you digitally? Do they get access to you digitally, or every time they want to see you and consume your content, they have to talk to you and call you, which they're not going to do. So you'll be out of sight, out of mind, and then somebody else will show up with a digital show in North Carolina for dentists, and you will lose business because of that. So I don't want you to be a follower. I want you to be a leader here. And think about where you are here. Remember, now this is a ladder. This is a scale. You're not either here or here. You might be in that soft area in between, that gray area. So I want you to think about that and leave a comment. I know I've got some people on here. Let's see, any comments? Yeah, give me a comment. Give me a shot. Can you see this okay? I know this is not great, but so the reason I'm sharing this with you is because this is something we're working on in our business, is helping people get from one to the other. You've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again here. I'm not sure sales training is the answer to getting up here. I'm just not sure it is. And to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You've heard that saying. And I know I'm guilty over the last few years, 20 years, of looking at everything through the eyes of a sales problem, a skills problem. Well, if you're not generating $250,000 a year, you need to make more calls and say different things on those calls and have a better sales process and handle objections better, which you do. Not against those things, but those things not going to get you here. They're not going to get you here. They're not even going to get you here. So I think one of the hazards with sales training is we focus on the wrong things. And I've had calls with companies here in the past 3 or 4 months, and they say, we want sales training. And I say, this is where we're going. And they say, I don't want any part of it. That's not where we want to go. We want to hover right down here. We don't want our people to be too successful because they'll leave. Really? That's your attitude? Okay. That's good. That's good attitude. Spot on. But some companies, I've talked to a couple who say, this is it. This is exactly what we need, because we've been stuck. We've been stuck down here for too long. And it doesn't mean you're going to fail out of the business. By the way, for you individuals who are down in the 100 to 250 range, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. But don't keep telling me that you want to grow your revenue and your income and you want to create wealth for yourself and your family and your legacy and your children and grandchildren. Don't tell me that if all you want to do is get stuck down here and just make more cold calls. Making more cold calls is not the answer. It might be a short-term answer for the next 30 days, but there's a whole lot more to the scale than that. So I would love to hear from you, even those people who watch this in arrears. Is that the right? Sounds like a financial thing, in arrears. Watch it after the fact, not live, but after the fact. Let me know what you think about this, because this is important that I get feedback on this. If you think I'm totally off base here and you say, Bill, we just love the analog down here. We love making cold calls. So just teach us how to make better cold calls. We don't want to have a $200 million platform. No, no, no. We do not want to do that. If that's where you are, let me know. And then I'll create custom material for that. But I think some of you, and I know I'm being a little facetious there, because I've run into a lot of you who obviously know that this is the future. This ain't the future. This is. So leave a comment. If you'd like to chat with me live, you can go to schedule a call with Caskey.com. Once again, this is brought to you by the $1 Million Seller Program. If you have not checked that out, go to BillCaskey.com/$1 Million Seller. That is if and only if you are looking to radically grow your business this year. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll see you tomorrow. Send me a note. Let me know. Send me a note.